It took 6 years to create the masterpiece that Arcane Season 1 was. Gosh, I'm still not over the genius of it all. The show left us with so many questions and an ending that shattered us, especially with Powder losing all her innocence. Since then, fans have been rewatching, trying to find clues about what's next. Now that the Season 2 trailer is out, it's getting harder to stay calm. So while you're desperately waiting for the next chapter into this heart-wrenching journey, we are going to take you in a deep dive into the most beloved character of the series, which is none other than Vi, aka Violet. Let's dig in. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Vi, the Enforcer of Piltover. Although her journey begins with a deep-rooted hatred for the Enforcers as well as the Piltovers, fate takes a tragic turn, and Vi ends up becoming the very thing she once hated, an Enforcer of Piltover. Violet is introduced at the beginning of the series as a young girl bracing herself for the impending grief. By her side is a little girl, her sister, Powder, who is holding Violet's arm as a symbol of strength, and as we learn later in the story, it is also a symbol of sanity. In the rebellion battle led by Vander against the Piltover, Violet finds that she has lost her parents. Violet breaks down as Powder holds her. Witnessing this heartbreaking aftermath of his seemingly brave action, Vander decides to take the sisters in. Becoming a father figure to the two girls, Vander later also adopts two boys named Milo and Clagor. The kids are trained under the guidance of Vander, who teaches them the harsh realities of life, and at a very young age, Vi is given the responsibility to lead the team. Soon Vi makes a rash decision to bring her team of amateur robbers, all the orphan kids, to the Piltover in order to steal some valuables and impress Vander. She even takes her little sister Powder along in this risky adventure. This doesn't go as planned, as Powder's wandering eyes find some mysterious blue crystals and she steals them. As the owner arrives in the room, the team rushes to leave, and amid this chaos, a crystal drops and blows up half the room. This alerts the security, and the kids are chased by the Piltover enforcers. They are able to arrive safely in the Undercity, but lose all the things they had stolen as Powder accidentally throws them into the water. None of them realize that the blast was caused by the crystals, some of which are still in Powder's possession. Did you notice the jinx pattern while watching the show? Well, it's too late now. At first, they hide their deeds from Vander, but he soon finds out. Several enforcers even arrive in Zaun looking for the culprits and warn Vander to surrender the robbers, or more enforcers will arrive to make life miserable in Zaun. Vi finds out about this and decides to surrender herself. Then Vander realizes what Vi is about to do, so he locks Vi in the basement and decides to surrender himself instead. This is when things take a turn for the worse, as Vi is forced to watch Vander get abducted by Silco and his shimmer-induced henchmen from the basement window. Soon her friend Echo rescues her from the basement, and they devise a plan to rescue Vander. She gathers Milo and Clagor, but decides to keep Powder away from this particularly risky adventure. Not wanting to lose her sister, Vi asks Powder to stay put and gives her a blue flare, promising to always find her through it. This kid, however, does the exact opposite as she begins realizing that the blue crystals were the real cause of the explosion on their robbing spree. So off she goes, believing herself to be the main character who will save the day. Reality, however, is far beyond this. After arriving in the battle scene and seeing her family struggling, Powder initiates the blue crystal bombs with her kid brain, somehow thinking it will selectively only kill the bad guys. This explosion ends up killing her brothers Milo and Clagor and injuring everyone else. Vander tries to save Vi, even in his now shimmery form, but gets killed while doing so. Engulfed with grief and yet another loss of her loved ones, Vi loses it when she finds out that Powder was the bomber. She punches Powder and says the fact she always refused to accept, that Powder is a jinx. Realizing that she is not in her right mind, Vi does the right thing to take a step back and distance herself from Powder. Powder, however, believes that she has been abandoned and keeps crying and begging her sister for forgiveness. Before Vi could calm down and approach her sister with the care and love she needs, Silco shows up and becomes becomes the comfort Powder needs. She crawls into his arms as he promises to avenge her loss. Vi, seeing her sister being taken away by the evil, tries to reach out, but gets dragged away by the Enforcer to be imprisoned. The show shifts several years later, where Vi is now in prison, constantly beaten and tortured by the guards, while Powder, or might I say Jinx, has turned from an innocent and scared little girl to a total maniac. Imagine Harley Quinn, but more unhinged. The show now follows Vi's stubborn desire to reunite with her sister, as she still sees herself as her protector. She shows her constant refusal to accept that the Powder she knew is long or almost gone. On the other hand, Jinx deals with her abandonment issues, her inner demons, and her desire for home in both Vi and Silco, who by the way, had an exceptional character development. Tough exterior, fierce spirit, Vi's appearance and personality. Vi comes out of the prison with tomboyish pink hair, one side shaved and the other a hot mess. She is now more muscular, with tattoos on her body and one that spells Vi in her face. She has several prison scars, noticeably on her eyebrow and upper lip, and also has piercings in her ears and left nostril. Vander's teachings became the intricate threads to Vi's whole personality, culminating in both of her good and bad experiences. Only through his faith in her is Vi able to hold on to her good heart despite all the odds thrown at her face. She is able to prioritize her family, which is now only Jinx, with a stubborn desire to protect her. Although Vander taught her how to be a good leader and a great human, he gave her a huge responsibility at a fragile age, clearly remarking that everything that happens to the family will be on her. This way of thinking is not so ideal for a kid who already has gone through past trauma and was forced to abandon her innocence to survive in the harsh world. Such harsh words coming from a father figure molded Vi's personality into holding herself responsible for every bad thing that happens to people she loves. She feels responsible for Vander and her brother's deaths, and even for leaving Powder to be taken away by Silco, all of which were obviously out of her control. Her stubbornness, self-loathing, low self-esteem, and this deep desire to protect those she loves at any cost become a recipe for a protagonist that is bound to hurt herself while saving basically the entire world. It takes a Caitlyn for someone like Vi to realize that the world is not on her shoulders, that people are going to face consequences of their actions no matter what she does, and most importantly, 90% of the time, things are not in her hands. Vi is a confident and strong young woman who will do anything on her hands for what's right. She never gives up on people she loves, never leaves anyone behind, and even makes the weakest of all feel included, as she did with Powder in their childhood. She is the most protective of Powder, not just for her physical well-being, but also her mental health. She is often seen looking past all of Powder's mistakes and flaws, and talking to her with compassion. She somehow understands that Powder needs great care and kindness, reflected in all her patient actions towards her. Like all humans, Vi is not so perfect. She is quick to anger and very impatient, often ending up in reckless situations, all of which had a domino effect, resulting in the most heartbreaking scenes in the series. Due to the hatred towards the Enforcers and the guilt she carries along, Vi builds a wall around herself, rarely showing people her weaknesses and never trusting anyone. Although the show focuses grandly on Jinx's pain, trauma, and mental mess-up, it largely overshadows the trauma suffered by Vi. Compared to Jinx, Vi had it worse, and the fact that it is always in the subtext, never on your face like Jinx's, just makes it sadder. Imagine losing your loved ones, literally all of them except one, and the one thing that is left being the reason behind all their deaths. Not only that, but helplessly witnessing this one person whom you still care about a lot being taken by your worst enemy, the one who enforced all the deaths in the first place. It doesn't end there. Instead of being able to help them, you are chloroformed and imprisoned for years, contained in a lonely cell where you don't even get a chance to deal with the grief as you are constantly beaten with no mercy. Jinx at least had a father figure to rely on, however twisted, but Vi was all alone. She was actually forced to face the villain plot arc, but emerged as a fighter who still has her empathy intact. Her troubles don't end there, and it seems that much worse is yet to come in the next season. Despite what waits for her, we have inculcated this inevitable faith in her humanity and bravery that we know this character isn't going to back down. Gauntlets, Vi's powerful arsenal. Although she had normal gear in the beginning of the series, Vi soon possesses powerful hex-tech gauntlets that are dominant against buildings and people alike. Vi largely possesses two main types of gauntlets. The iron one, which is made from, well, iron. This is the basic gauntlet she used in her initial days, which was Vander's signature weapon. She trained in this gear and also went on to rescue Vander using this particular gadget. The Atlas Gauntlet is a very rare and powerful Hextech creation by none other than Jace. These gauntlets were originally created to help miners in their jobs so that they can work more efficiently without fatigue. Vi was seen using this in a fight scene when she takes Jace along into the Undercity, as Jace also brings his iconic Mercury hammer. This gauntlet boosts all her punches' strength, giving her an upper hand against the most powerful villains like Sevica. After Jace accidentally harms an innocent child, reality hits him hard, and he gives up the mission. Despite his order, Vi refuses to return the gauntlet, and he leaves her on her own to go against Silco. Not just this, Vi also uses several prototypes of the Atlas gauntlets in her many adventures. Close combat expertise. Vi's fighting style. As already mentioned, Vander turns the broken and grief-ridden girl into a skilled fighter under his wing. She's got trained in combat and even defeated the most vicious fighters in Undercity who were twice her size. Through rigorous training in both Zaun and the prison, Vi is fearless and remarkable when it comes to action. She often chooses to find solutions through her fists, which some people may find impulsive. Her hand-to-hand combat skills combined with the powerful gauntlets make her invincible against even the shimmery individuals. Sisterly bonds. Vi's relationship with Jinx. After losing the security of their parents, Vi and her sister Powder were able to find a new home with Vander. While Vi relied on Vander for protection, advice, and comfort, she became a shield, protecting her little sister Powder from every bad thing. She taught her to face her fears and encouraged her to mold her flaws into her greatest strength. She would often defend Powder against Milo's teases and blames despite Powder's multiple mess-ups. Vi's motherly care and caution towards Powder is heartwarming and too painful to watch at times. Vi accepts a strong personality while living with Vander, one that acts like she can take care of everything, one that beats up big men and makes little boys fear and run away. She changes herself for survival, appearing strong and unfazed to the world. But to her sister, Vi is always the most thoughtful and loving sister. While hot-tempered to the world, Vi manages to take a step back when it comes to Powder. She accepts all her flaws and tries to protect her innocence at all costs, even deciding to sacrifice herself to protect Powder's future. Eventually, when Vi loses her temper at Powder, even she is taken aback by her action. Despite all the hurt Powder accidentally causes, Vi is still perplexed by the emotions she feels, her unconditional love towards her sister, and the heartbreaking pain of losing all the people she was fighting for. That brief moment of losing her calm to the sister who had only seen her best, her kindest sight, ended up changing the course of both their lives. It shows us how often the emotionally evoked actions result in dire situations we just can't get out of. While Powder thinks she has been discarded by the only family she has, Vi delves into the guilt of it all. When the two reunite, there is a small glimpse of the little girl who sought comfort in her sister's arms, but Jinx quickly replaced Powder, confusing her with emotional turmoil. Upon seeing her sister, who used to hate the Piltovers, with an enforcer, Jinx quickly became hostile. To make it worse, they get attacked by the Firelight team. During this fight, Vi truly sees the horror that Silco has created. She sees how her innocent little sister has now transformed into a vicious killer who doesn't think twice before brutally slaughtering people. After this fight, Vi and Caitlyn are kidnapped by the Firelight again, leaving behind the emotionally flabbergasted Jinx. Despite Echo advising Vi that Powder is too far gone, Vi still believes that her sister is still in there and she will be able to get her back from the manipulative grasps of Silco, not realizing that even Silco isn't able to control Jinx's mental instability. Towards the end of the first season, Vi fearfully witnesses Powder leave her sister and Jinx, taking over as she pulls the final straw of using her signature weapon and aiming it towards the Piltover Council, where people were finally ready for a peace treaty. So much for peace. It seems that her sister took a long time to realize that they had changed too much throughout the season. Although both wanted that sense of comfort, the faded promise of a loving family they had left behind, but their personalities had evolved in such different directions that it was too hard to reach a meeting point. Powder was too far gone. Only her essence of false hope remained. On the other hand, Vi had this vision of her innocent little sister, but what she met with was something utterly destructive. Even in the final scene when she was trying to bring Jinx back to her senses by reminding her about their lost family, Vi was not able to realize that she was causing immense pain to Jinx by reminding her of that. The pain she had cremated deep in her heart like some untouched wound. Even Silco feared, reminding Jinx of that, and when he tried to intervene, Jinx showed her last bit of Powder when she killed him. With yet another family member dying in her own hands, Powder again left the chat. Still, Vi was not able to understand what utter pain Jinx was going through, trying to assure her that everything was okay, suggesting that they can run away together, not realizing that Jinx has just killed the man who loved her despite all her flaws, who was ready to wage a war to protect her. This pivotal moment marked the beginning of the end, the moment when Jinx realized that she will always be misunderstood and that letting the chaotic Jinx take over is way less painful than keeping the fearful Powder within. Hence, Vi lost her little sister forever, and it looks like she will now have to fight the very person she was ready to die to protect. It is refreshing to witness a series that knows how to create strong female characters where these female leads have the power, and most important of all, they get to use powers without any male influence. What's the word? Yeah, agency. These female characters have the ability to influence the story through their actions. Be it Mel, Jinx, Vi, Caitlyn, or any other female character, they all have a say in things. Their actions often decide the course of the story, and they truly hold value to their position in the films, which for some reason is so hard for many other stories to pursue. Marvelous verdict. Vi's character is easy to connect with because of everything she's been through. She seems to attract bad things, but despite all the trauma, she holds on to her humanity, unlike the fragile world around her that quickly turns violent after one bad experience. What are your expectations for Vi in Season 2? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.